The PGA versus LIV battle is finally coming to a head as players finish taking sides. Phil Mickelson was one of the earlier defectors. Still, the player hasn't been doing good if his abysmal performance at the US Open is anything to go by. In this video, we'll be taking a look at Mickelson's continued misery since defecting, so stay tuned. First off, how it all started with the LIV comments. Ever since the LIV Invitational Series was announced by CEO Greg Norman, it started a soap opera in the relatively peaceful golf world. Like most sports, it's been dominated by one league, in this case, the PGA Tour, for decades. So when the LIV Series was announced with a deep purse, it caused a ruckus. And one of the points everyone's been stuck on is how it's Saudi-backed. It's understandable given the country's rocky history with human rights. But if you're going to be supporting the tour, one would expect you to keep mum about that. Unfortunately, Phil Mickelson had other ideas when he bashed the country. Get this, he called them scary, mentioned Jamal Khashoggi's murder, their treatment of gay people, and admitted that he thought they were sport washing to improve their image, but he didn't care. His point was that the LIV Series was a good way to counter the PGA Tour's influence and reshape how they worked. He ended up eating his words because the backlash was so much that he had to apologize on Twitter, saying he used words that he regretted. It's obvious that his comments rubbed people the wrong way, especially since he basically admitted that he didn't care what playing for the LIV meant as long as it gave him what he wanted. Secondly, how Phil's reckless comments ended with a 4-month exile. Not only did Phil Mickelson end up losing sponsors, but he also went on a 4-month hiatus and missed the 2022 Masters tournament and the PGA Championship, where he was the reigning champion. His statement on Twitter implied that he had had physical and mental health trouble over the years, and the pressure was taking a toll on him. It looked like the hiatus was just as much because of the backlash as it was because of personal reasons. But after missing 2 majors, he finally came out of exile to play for the opening LIV event, and then joined in for the US Open. He made his comeback announcement on social media, saying he was ready to join the game again. He went on to say that he had been playing for over 32 years, but the new path was fresh and exciting. The golfer also stated that playing for the LIV, which boasted more flexible timings, would allow him to lead a healthier life. This was mentioned by many of the defectors, who stated what a major incentive the time off was. Of course, each one failed to mention the money they were being offered. Mickelson had previously admitted to hiring attorneys to go over the stipulations set for the players, and Mickelson's offer probably touches Dustin Johnson's $125 million offer. Thirdly, Mickelson ends up playing horribly at the US Open. The decision by the US Open was a clear statement that they won't be getting involved in the PGA versus LIV beef because they refused to suspend players based on what league they were playing for. As a result, when Mickelson stepped onto the field, it was the first official showdown between players on opposing sides. And no matter how Greg Norman boasts about LIV's bigger fields, it looks like the PGA is still at the forefront because it ended badly. The former champion fired an 8 over par in the first round, but ended up dropping down to a 73 in the next. At 11 over 151, he failed to make the playoffs and won't be at the country club in Brookline. He wasn't the only LIV player to get mediocre results, but it probably stung more after everything he's been through. For a former champion, the results were pretty lackluster. He admitted that although he had enjoyed the week, he wished he had played better. Still, he said he liked the time off, but loved playing again, and called the event and course spectacular and remarkable. From the 15 LIV players on the field, Dustin Johnson will definitely be at the next event, but overall, it's obvious that the cream of the crop is sticking with the PGA Tour. Finally, how this is yet another US Open moment Lefty probably wants to forget. This less than desirable play isn't the first time Phil Mickelson had a US Open moment he probably wishes he could erase from his brain. In the 2004 US Open, he was in the lead by 1. He 3-putted just 5 feet from the penultimate hole and ended up losing by 2 shots. There was the 2006 US Open where he missed the playoffs by 1 stroke after some disastrous shots. The incident led the player to comment, "I'm such an idiot." There was also the 2013 US Open where he lost by just 2 shots. He'd taken the lead 3 different times, but missed 2 greens. To add insult to injury, the event is the only major he hasn't won. For a golfer who's in the Hall of Fame, it probably keeps him up at night. He ended up with only 3 birdies with 36 holes. He commented that he had thought he was more prepared than he was, and that he struggled with putting. Now, in other news. First, Greg Norman comes at PGA Tour's field size compared to LIV. The PGA Tour and the DP World Tour are joining forces against the LIV, but Greg Norman wouldn't just sit back and let it all happen. So he decided that it was time to add fuel to the fire. Norman recently posted a tweet comparing the PGA Tour, DP Tour, and the second LIV Golf International. Ever since the LIV posed a real threat to their existence, the two are going to rather desperate lengths to keep players within their circle. The PGA Tour and Commissioner Jay Monahan even went as far as suspending each and every player that left to play in the LIV. With the stunt he just pulled, Norman has made the already hostile nature of interactions even worse. Though, of course, nobody expected him to ignore everything that's happening, he is creating chaos, especially after he suggested a match between the PGA Tour players and LIV golf rebels. With everything else that's already happening, the DP World Tour now has to face the prospect of players taking fines and suspensions to court, and golf fans are left wondering exactly what will be the last straw on the camel's back. Secondly, Matt Fitzpatrick wins first major with US Open trophy. The US Opens have been in full swing recently, and the winner has finally been decided: Matt Fitzpatrick. This is the 27-year-old's first major win, and he managed to sweep up the US Open's title despite the fact that many great players had set their eyes on it. Matt is the only man to have won a US Amateur and a US Open on the same course, other than the legendary Jack Nicklaus, of course. Fitzpatrick won the US Amateur in 2013 when he was 18. He is also the second Englishman to have won a US Open since Tony Jacklin in 1970, and the first one since Justin Rose won it in 2013. After winning, the first thing he did was walk behind the green where his family was waiting for him and hug his parents and brother with a smile brighter than the sun. When asked about his opinion on the events, Fitzpatrick loudly proclaimed that he loved winning. He seemed very proud of his accomplishment, saying that he didn't care how it would appear to anyone else, but if there was one thing he knew for sure, it was that beating everyone and winning was extremely satisfying. Finally, Novak Djokovic won't get vaccinated even if it means missing the US Open. Novak Djokovic has lost some respect among fans due to his refusal to get vaccinated. He still has the appropriate amount of time to get vaccinated and resume playing at the Flushing Meadows on the 29th of August. But when asked whether the decision of not getting vaccinated was absolute, the man provided only a hard yes as an answer. Well, it looks like someone's not playing in the US Open. Wimbledon will be the last big stop in 2022 for the player. Not that he seems to mind. No, instead of being disappointed in being unable to play in another great tournament, he has decided to use this as extra motivation to do better in Wimbledon. Let's hope motivation works, because luck has not been on his side this month, as he managed to be defeated by his rival Rafael Nadal in the quarterfinals of the French Open. Novak has already come down with COVID-19 and still hasn't learned his lesson. He says that he would love to go to the States, but has yet to make an effort to back his claim. Though if the US decides that one person is more important than millions and lets unvaccinated people enter, maybe we'll see him at the US Open. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Mickelson's situation? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.